began like any other night on the Joe Rogan Experience. Two men, a table, and a storm of curiosity swirling between them. But no one, not even Rogan himself, could have predicted what would come out of Elon Musk's mouth that evening. The episode had already crossed 1 million live viewers before Musk leaned forward, his tone quiet but sharp, and dropped a line that left the entire studio frozen. "There's something you don't know about Charlie Kirk's widow," he said. Rogan blinked, half smiling, thinking it was another one of Elon's cryptic jokes. But then Musk added, "She wasn't who he thought she was, and neither are the people protecting her." That single sentence sent shockwaves through the internet. Within minutes, clips began circulating with titles like "Elon Musk exposes the Kirk family secrets" and "Joe Rogan can't believe what he just heard." Fans replayed the footage frame by frame, trying to read the expression on Rogan's face as the billionaire went on. You could see the color drain from Joe's cheeks when Musk mentioned a hidden recording, a burner phone, and a private jet registered under a fake foundation. Every word felt like a trapdoor opening beneath the audience. Social media erupted. Comment sections flooded with wild theories, some claiming Elon was covering for someone, others insisting he'd finally decided to burn bridges with America's conservative elite. Screenshots of Rogan's reaction became memes overnight. "Elon just nuked the internet," one user posted. Another wrote, "This is bigger than Epstein. Bigger than Twitter files. Musk just went rogue." Inside the studio, Rogan tried to keep his composure, but the tension was palpable. "Are you saying," he asked slowly, "that Charlie Kirk's widow was involved in something?" Musk paused before answering. His voice dropped into a low, deliberate tone. "I'm saying she knows more than she's ever admitted, and people should be asking why she's being protected." That's when the cameras caught Rogan leaning back, eyes narrowing, as if he'd just realized this conversation might be bigger than his show. The air felt electric, the silence between them louder than words. Rogan muttered, "You're gonna start a war with this?" And Musk simply replied, "Maybe it's time someone did." From that moment, the podcast stopped being a casual conversation. It became a televised detonation. Viewers were left stunned, uncertain whether they'd witnessed a confession, a warning, or the opening move of something far more dangerous. As the episode ended abruptly, Rogan's producers cut the feed without explanation, and Musk's team went dark. The internet is still reeling, desperate for answers, replaying every frame, every word, searching for clues. What did Elon Musk mean? What secret is Charlie Kirk's widow hiding? And why does it sound like the story isn't over yet? This wasn't just another eccentric Elon moment. This was a revelation no one saw coming. The billionaire who thrives on calculated chaos had just uttered a name, connected to one of the most controversial political voices in America, and a woman who'd stayed silent since her husband's mysterious passing. Viewers leaned closer to their screens. Joe's voice dropped an octave, almost whispering, "Wait, what do you mean by that?" Elon gave that trademark smirk, inhaled deeply, and said, "Let's just say, the truth isn't what people think it is." Those 12 words cracked open a storm that would take over the internet by sunrise. Within minutes, social media erupted with wild theories. Was Elon hinting at an affair, a secret alliance, or something darker, something that linked tech power to political deception? One viral clip caught Elon's expression just before he spoke, a brief hesitation, as if deciding whether to destroy someone's reputation or protect them. Fans replayed that microsecond again and again, trying to decode the meaning in his eyes. By the time Rogan asked his next question, the tension had turned electric. You could almost feel the heat in the studio air. Elon didn't backtrack, didn't laugh it off, didn't clarify. Instead, he leaned closer to the mic and dropped another line that sent chills through the live audience. "She came to me for help when no one else would listen." That was it. No context, no names, no timeline. Just enough to make every viewer's mind spiral into speculation. Across the internet, people began pulling clips, dissecting body language, and tracing connections between Musk's companies and Kirk's foundation. Some claimed to have found proof that the widow had visited SpaceX headquarters. Others swore they'd seen her at a Tesla event last month, avoiding cameras. Even Rogan's reaction became a meme, his eyes wide, his jaw half dropped, like he knew something but wasn't sure if he should push further. By midnight, Elon Musk, Joe Rogan, and Charlie Kirk's widow were trending worldwide. Reddit threads multiplied by the minute. Fans demanded answers. Critics called it a publicity stunt, but deep down, everyone knew one thing for sure. Something real had been touched that night, something dangerous. And as the livestream replayed in millions of homes, Elon's final words of that segment echoed like a warning. The truth doesn't disappear, just waits for the right voice. No one knew it then, but that was only the beginning of a scandal that would shake 3 worlds at once: tech, politics, and grief. And at the center of it stood a woman who'd been silent for too long. Under the low studio light, tension hung between Joe and Elon like static before a storm. Joe tried to smile, but his voice wavered. Elon, are you saying Charlie Kirk's widow came to you personally? Elon paused, eyes unfocused, as if replaying something in his mind. Yes, he said slowly, and not for the reason people think. The room went quiet. Even the faint hum of the soundboard felt loud. Joe leaned forward, elbows on the table. So what exactly happened? Elon exhaled, a tired, uneasy sigh. It started a few months after Charlie passed. She sent a handwritten letter, actual letter, to my office in Texas. It wasn't about politics. It was about protection. Joe frowned. Protection from what? Elon's eyes met his. From people who wanted her silence. The way he said it made the air heavier. He didn't blink, didn't move. He just let the sentence hang there. Heavy enough to make even Joe hesitate. You mean like threats? Joe pressed. More like reminders, Elon replied. Reminders of what happens when you question certain networks. His voice softened on that last word, as if it meant more than he could explain. Joe's eyebrows shot up. Networks. Are you talking about political ones? Elon nodded faintly. Political, financial, and personal. It's all connected. The audience watching the live stream felt the shift instantly. The comments flooded in. He's serious. This isn't a joke. Is he in danger too? Joe rubbed his forehead, clearly unsure whether to keep digging, but curiosity got the best of him. So you helped her? What did she ask for? Elon looked at the camera for a second before answering. She didn't ask for money. She didn't ask for fame. She just said she had something that could ruin people and she didn't trust anyone else. Joe's eyes widened. Ruin who? Elon hesitated, then said quietly, people she thought were responsible for her husband's downfall. A soft gasp came from somewhere off camera. Joe leaned back, almost whispering. You're talking about the foundation, aren't you? Elon didn't confirm or deny, but his silence said everything. So, what did you do? Joe asked again. Elon smiled faintly, but it wasn't his usual confident grin. I met her at a small private hangar outside Los Angeles. She arrived in a gray coat, sunglasses, quiet, scared. I could tell she hadn't slept in days. She handed me a sealed envelope and said, if anything happens to me, this goes public. Joe blinked hard. What was inside? Elon shook his head. I haven't opened it. Not yet. Joe sat up straight. You're kidding. No, Elon said. I wanted to, but something stopped me. Maybe fear, maybe respect. She said the truth inside would destroy reputations, end alliances, maybe even start something none of us can control. The chat went wild again. What's in the envelope? Open it live. Joe, tell him to open it. Joe tried to lighten the mood. So you're sitting on something explosive and just keeping it? Elon's tone hardened. I'm keeping it safe. For a brief moment, neither man spoke. The camera zoomed slightly closer on Elon's face. There was no smirk this time, only quiet calculation. Joe, you have to understand, he said. Sometimes truth isn't freedom, it's chaos. Joe looked uneasy. So you're saying if that letter gets out, things could get dangerous? Elon nodded. Not could, will. Outside the studio, viewers started piecing together every timeline they could. Screenshots of Charlie Kirk's last appearances, rumors of internal conflicts in his circle, unexplained donations that vanished overnight. People dug into flight records, matching dates between Elon's jet movements and the widow's known locations. Reddit filled with theories. Some claimed the widow had evidence of secret deals, linking tech companies to political influencers. Others swore it was personal, that she blamed certain figures for manipulating Charlie before his death. By the next morning, journalists were chasing her name again, trying to find her. But she'd gone off-grid months ago. No sightings, no posts, no photos. Only one verified fact. Her property in Arizona had been sold quietly, cash only. The buyer's name was hidden behind an LLC, traced back to Texas, one that had ties to a company partially owned by Elon Musk. When Joe mentioned this, Elon looked at him steadily. You did your homework, he said. I had to, Joe replied. This story's wild. Elon nodded slowly. It's wild because it's real. Joe frowned. But what's your connection to her now? Are you in contact? Elon hesitated again. She disappears sometimes, changes numbers, sends one-line texts. Last time, she said, they found me again, and then nothing for weeks. Joe's hand froze halfway to his drink. You think she's in danger? I know she is, Elon said. The silence in the studio stretched long. Even Joe's crew seemed hesitant to move. So why tell me this now? Joe asked finally. Elon leaned forward, his voice low and steady. Because I think she's about to surface. And when she does, the story won't just be about her. It'll be about who tried to bury her and why. Joe's eyes flicked toward the camera. You mean powerful people? Elon's lips curved faintly. You'd be surprised who fears the truth. The live stream chat started spinning out of control. Words like cover-up, espionage, and secret files flashed across screens. Joe turned to Elon, trying to read him. "So, what do you want from this, man? What's your goal?" Elon's answer was slow, deliberate. "I want to finish what Charlie couldn't, and I think his widow is the key." Joe shook his head in disbelief. "You're saying Charlie Kirk was silenced?" "I'm saying," Elon replied, "he saw too much." The lights in the studio flickered. Slightly a coincidence maybe, but it made Joe glance up. "What did he see, Elon?" Joe asked quietly. Elon's eyes darkened. "A deal that crossed lines no one should cross." Joe straightened, tense. "You're saying this goes beyond politics?" Elon's voice dropped to a whisper. "Way beyond." Somewhere deep in the audience of millions watching, a single clip began to go viral. A close-up of Elon as he said those last two words. People slowed it down frame by frame, noticing the tiny shift in his jaw. The glance to his left as if checking for something unseen. The comments were instant. "He's scared. Someone's watching him. This is bigger than we think." And still, Elon sat there, calm but haunted. Like a man who had opened a door he couldn't close. Joe tried to laugh to ease the tension, but it didn't land. "You know, you just set the internet on fire, right?" Elon smiled faintly. "Good. Maybe it's time the fire spreads." Joe's tone softened. "Elon, you sure you want to do this?" Elon looked at him with quiet conviction. "I already did." And with that, the screen cut to commercial, but the damage was done. The conversation had crossed into something irreversible. Fans felt it. Critics felt it. Even Joe knew it, something massive had just shifted, and the night was far from over. After the commercial break, the atmosphere inside the studio felt changed. The playful tone that usually colored Joe's interviews was gone. Even the laughter from the crew had vanished. When the camera light turned red again, signaling they were live, Joe cleared his throat and leaned forward. "So, Elon," he said carefully, "you've just hinted at something that could potentially destroy reputations. Are you absolutely sure you want to keep talking about this on air?" Elon didn't hesitate. "If I stop now, they'll know I'm afraid, and I can't afford that." Joe nodded slowly, understanding that the story had already taken on a life of its own. "What happened after she gave you that letter?" Joe asked. Elon rubbed his fingers together as if feeling the memory. "She disappeared for a while. Then, 3 weeks later, I got a voice message. Just 3 words. They followed me." Joe's face tightened. "Did you trace the call?" Elon shook his head. "It came from a throwaway phone. She knew how to cover her tracks. But there was something in her voice, panic, exhaustion, and something else. Resignation." He looked at Joe as if weighing whether to continue. "A few days later, I got a package at no return address. Inside was a small flash drive and a photo." Joe frowned. "Of her?" Elon nodded. "She was standing outside a car looking over her shoulder. Behind her, in the reflection of a shop window, you could see 2 men. One of them was wearing an earpiece." Joe's voice grew low. "What was on the flash drive?" Elon hesitated, and for the first time, his composure cracked slightly. "I didn't check it right away. I had it scanned by my security team. But when we opened it, there was just one file labeled Echo. It was encrypted. The password hint said, 'Ask him why he called me that.'" Joe blinked. "Called her what?" "Echo," Elon replied. "Charlie used to call her that, his echo. He said she reflected everything he couldn't say out loud." Joe's expression softened for a moment. "That's poetic, man." "It was," Elon said, "until I realized he might have meant it literally. She wasn't just repeating his beliefs, she was carrying them. The real ones." For a moment, the silence felt thick enough to touch. Joe looked toward the crew, but no one moved. "You're saying she has information Charlie left behind?" "She had something," Elon said. "Something that scared very powerful people." Joe leaned forward again. "And you think that's what got him killed?" Elon's gaze hardened. "I think he didn't die the way we were told." The words hit like a punch. Even Joe, who'd built a career on unfiltered conversations, looked shaken. "That's a heavy claim, Elon. Are you saying you have proof?" "Not yet," Elon said. "But she does." Joe exhaled sharply. "So what's your next move?" Elon leaned back, his tone unreadable. "She told me she'd reach out when the time was right. She said she was gathering evidence, people willing to talk, people who'd been forced into silence. Last I heard, she was somewhere in Colorado under another name." Joe rubbed his temples. "Man, this sounds like a movie." Elon gave a brief, humorless laugh. "It's real. Too real." His eyes flicked toward the camera again. "And if she's watching this, she'll know I kept my word." Meanwhile, across the internet, things were spiraling out of control. Journalists began calling Elon's office for statements. Online detectives were scouring flight logs, comparing names, tracing obscure donations. Even Joe's production team was swarmed by calls asking for the raw footage of the interview. Hashtags like #ELON and Echo and #Rogan revelation were trending within hours. Every detail was under scrutiny: who the 2 men with earpieces might be, whether the flash drive existed and if ECHO was a codename for something darker. As the night wore on, Joe's producers whispered nervously behind the cameras. They'd already received 2 emails from anonymous accounts warning them to end the interview now. One message contained a line that sent chills through the room. "Truth is not your friend." Joe glanced at the screen and said quietly, "We're being watched." Elon didn't flinch. "Of course we are." The energy in the studio felt claustrophobic. Joe's voice dropped to almost a whisper. "Elon, off record. Do you think this connects to the same people controlling the political donations Charlie's foundation received?" Elon nodded. "Yes. The same donors who disappeared after his death, same companies, same shell accounts." "So," Joe said, "this wasn't about ideology. It was about money." Elon's response was immediate. Money and silence. He leaned closer to the mic. "When people profit from chaos, they can't afford the truth. And when someone like Charlie gets too close, they find a way to make it look like an accident." Joe froze. "You're saying his death wasn't natural?" Elon's eyes narrowed. "Let's just say. His widow didn't believe the autopsy report. The audience watching from home couldn't look away. The livestream chat scrolled faster than anyone could read. This is insane. Is this real? What if he's next?" One comment stood out, gaining thousands of likes in minutes. The letter, the flash drive, the silence, it's all connected. Joe took a slow breath. "So what now? Are you going to hand over the flash drive?" Elon shook his head. "Not to the media. Not to the government. There's one more thing I have to do first." Joe looked confused. "What's that?" "I have to find her," Elon said quietly. "She trusted me with something no one else could protect. And until she's safe, that file stays sealed." At that exact moment, something strange happened. The studio lights flickered again, brighter this time. Joe looked toward his crew, who shook their heads. They hadn't touched anything. Elon smirked faintly, though his eyes betrayed tension. "Funny timing," he murmured. "Funny or deliberate?" Joe asked. Elon didn't answer. Later, when the "Funny or deliberate?" Joe asked. Elon didn't answer. Later, when the full episode aired online, fans would notice something odd. During that brief flicker, a faint sound played barely audible like static, layered with a whisper. Those who enhanced the audio claimed it said, "She's not safe." Whether coincidence or not, it only fueled the hysteria. Back in the studio, Joe tried to regain control of the conversation. "Let's rewind," he said. "How did you even get involved in this? You're a tech guy, not a fixer." Elon smiled thinly. "You'd be surprised what people tell me. She reached out after hearing one of my talks about digital security. She said Charlie had been working on something that could expose the hidden donors manipulating elections through crypto pipelines. She said he called it the Mirror Network." Joe blinked. "Mirror Network. Yeah," Elon said. "A system designed to reflect financial flows, showing where money really comes from. But someone corrupted it, turned it into a laundering tool." Joe looked stunned. "And she has proof." "She had proof," Elon corrected. "But now? I'm not sure what she has left." Joe ran his hand over his face. "Man, if what you're saying is true, this could bring down half the country's power players." Elon gave a small nod. "Which is exactly why people are afraid. They don't fear exposure, they fear accountability." Joe looked straight into the camera. "And you think that's why she vanished?" "No," Elon said. "She vanished because she tried to warn me that I was next." Joe's eyes widened. "What?" "The night before she disappeared," Elon said slowly, "she called me from an unknown number. She said, 'They've turned their attention to you. Stop digging.' Then the line cut off. And 2 days later, her car was found abandoned outside Denver." Joe's mouth fell open. "Was she?" "No," Elon interrupted. "No body. No trace. Just her phone wiped clean." The tension in the studio was unbearable. Even the air seemed to vibrate with unease. Joe whispered, "Jesus, Elon." Elon looked distant, almost haunted. "I told myself not to care. But then, last week, someone broke into one of my data facilities. Nothing was stolen except a single folder labeled Echo." Joe stared in disbelief. "So someone knows about it." "Someone always knows," Elon said softly. "The question is, what will they do next?" And at that point, somewhere deep inside that quiet studio, Joe realized the story wasn't about Charlie Kirk's widow anymore. It was about power, control, and the thin line between truth and destruction. Elon glanced at him, almost reading his thoughts. "You see it now, don't you?" he said. "This isn't about one woman. It's about who gets to decide what the public believes." The final moments of that segment felt like the calm before a bigger storm. Joe sat in silence, hands clasped. Elon looked toward the glowing camera and said in a low voice, "She told me once, if the truth comes out, no one will be left untouched. I think that time is coming." The broadcast faded out, but the conversation didn't end there. Because as the lights dimmed and the crew packed up, Elon's phone buzzed on the table. One new message from an unknown number. No words, just a single photo. It was the widow, standing in the dark, holding a newspaper with that day's date. Her expression, unreadable. Below it, one short line, "We need to talk." Joe saw Elon's phone light up, the image briefly glowing across the table between them. Elon's hand hovered above it, his expression unreadable. Joe leaned forward, voice low. "Is that her?" Elon didn't answer right away. The studio was half empty now, most of the crew quietly pretending not to stare. When Elon finally spoke, his voice was tight. "It's her, and she's alive." Joe exhaled slowly, glancing toward the screen. "What's the time?" Elon looked closer. 4 minutes ago. That meant the photo had been sent while they were still on air. Elon's jaw clenched. He pressed his thumb to the screen, enlarging the image. "Look behind her," he said. Joe squinted. Behind the widow, barely visible in the dark, was a chain-link fence and a weathered sign with faded letters. Joe tilted his head. "Is that an airfield?" "It's the one near Santa Fe," Elon muttered. "She's been there before. It's abandoned." He stood up suddenly, pacing. "She wants me to come." Joe blinked. "Tonight?" "She wouldn't send that otherwise," Elon said. "She's signaling that she's ready." Joe hesitated, sensing something reckless in Elon's tone. "Man, this could be a trap." Elon nodded slowly. "That's exactly why I have to go." The camera crew, still packing up, exchanged nervous looks. Joe reached across the table. "At least tell someone where you're going." Elon glanced back at him. "If I tell anyone, she won't show." By dawn, news clips from the interview had reached every major outlet. Headlines screamed across the internet. Elon Musk implies political cover-up. In Joe Rogan interview, mystery woman linked to Charlie Kirk's death surfaces. Social media was chaos. Reporters camped outside Elon's offices. Bloggers claimed to have insider sources. But the man himself was nowhere to be found. Hours passed before anyone realized his jet had taken off quietly just before sunrise. Its destination was unlisted. The only person who seemed unsurprised was Joe. Sitting in his office later that morning, he scrolled through the viral comments in silence. One message stood out, pinned under a replay of their exchange. "If Elon disappears, we'll know it was true." Meanwhile, at that forgotten airfield outside Santa Fe, the desert wind carried the echo of distant engines. Elon's car rolled to a stop beside an old hangar, its metal siding half-rusted and covered in graffiti. He stepped out, scanning the horizon. No movement, no lights, just dust and silence. He checked his phone again. Another message blinked across the screen. Inside, he pushed open the heavy door, its hinges groaning. The air inside was stale, filled with the scent of oil and dry wood. Somewhere in the shadows, a voice whispered, "You came." He turned. She stepped into the faint light, a woman in a gray coat, who'd pulled low eyes, cautious. Her face was thinner than before, but unmistakable. "You shouldn't have contacted me," he said quietly. She shook her head. "I didn't have a choice. They're closing in." "Who?" "The same ones Charlie tried to expose," she said. "They know about the flash drive." Elon's voice hardened. "How I kept it secure?" "Not secure enough," she whispered. "Someone inside your company sold information?" He frowned, eyes narrowing. "That's impossible." "Nothing's impossible when they can buy loyalty," she said, her tone brittle. "They want to destroy everything connected to that data." She took a step closer, her voice trembling. "Elon, they're watching both of us. That's why I sent the photo, to prove I'm still alive, but not for long." He looked at her, realization dawning. "You're planning to disappear again?" "For good this time," she said. "But before I do, you need to know what's in that file." She reached into her coat and pulled out a small drive identical to the one she'd given him months before. "This is the key. The password isn't a word, it's a name." Elon took it slowly. "Whose name?" Her eyes glistened. "Charlie's last call before he died was to someone he trusted. He said one name before the line went dead. That's your key." Elon's breath caught. "Who was it?" She hesitated, tears forming. "You." The silence that followed felt endless. Elon's hand tightened around the drive. "Me," he whispered. "He called me." She nodded. "He said you were the only one who could finish it." "The mirror network." For a moment, neither spoke. Outside, the wind howled through the broken hangar slats. Elon looked away, trying to piece together memories, conversations, meetings. Things Charlie had hinted at months before his death. "He asked me about encryption," Elon murmured. "He said he was working on something revolutionary. Something that could expose financial manipulation. I told him to be careful, and he wasn't," she said softly. "They got to him before he could release it. They made it look like natural causes, but he'd been poisoned. Slow, undetectable, deliberate." Elon's face darkened. "And you have proof of that?" She nodded. "Autopsy data, suppressed reports, chemical traces. It's all inside the echo file." Elon looked down at the drive in his hand. "So why give this to me now?" "Because I can't run anymore," she said. "They've found every place I tried to hide. I thought I could stay invisible, but they have people everywhere. You're the only one with enough power to release the truth and survive it." He studied her for a long moment. "And if I do this, what happens to you?" She gave a faint smile. "That depends on how fast you move." Then, a sound tires on gravel. Both of them froze. Headlights sliced through the cracks in the hangar wall. Elon turned sharply toward the door. Were you followed? No, she whispered, but her eyes said otherwise. A second later, the sound of footsteps echoed outside, measured and heavy. Elon reached for his phone, but the signal was gone. The widow grabbed his sleeve. They jammed it, she whispered. The hangar door creaked. A voice called out, calm and deliberate. Mr. Musk, you don't have to make this harder. Elon's blood ran cold. The voice was unfamiliar, but the tone was practiced professional. Detached. Hand over the drive, the man continued. We're here to clean this up quietly. Elon's gaze darted to the widow. She shook her head slightly, clutching his arm. They won't let you leave if you give it to them, she whispered. Elon took a step back, tucking the drive into his pocket. You'll have to kill me first. The footsteps paused. Then, slowly, the man stepped into view. Black coat, gloves, no insignia. Behind him, two others fanned out. The leader spoke again. That won't be necessary unless you make it. His eyes flicked toward the widow. She's caused enough damage. Before Elon could react, she moved. She grabbed a small metal canister from her pocket and threw it to the ground. A blinding flash erupted, filling the hangar with smoke. Go, she shouted. Elon stumbled back as gunfire cracked through the air. He ducked behind a metal beam, heart pounding. What are you doing? He yelled, ending this. She shouted back. When the smoke cleared, moments later, she was gone. The men outside were coughing, shouting, disoriented. Elon bolted for the side exit, clutching the drive. He made it to his car, breath ragged, adrenaline blurring his thoughts. Behind him, a single gunshot echoed across the desert night. He froze, glancing back, but the hangar was engulfed in shadow. For several seconds, he sat there staring at the building, debating whether to go back. But then another car appeared on the horizon, black and unmarked. That decided it. He slammed the accelerator and sped off into the dark. By the time he reached Los Angeles again, the sun was rising. The city looked normal, indifferent, as if the night's events had never happened. Elon parked his car in a private garage beneath one of his offices and sat there in silence, gripping the drive. The words she'd said kept echoing in his mind. The password is a name yours. He went upstairs, sealed himself in a secure lab, and connected the drive to an isolated terminal. The encryption screen appeared, pulsing faintly. He typed his own name. Access granted. The screen flickered, then displayed dozens of folders, documents, recordings, financial ledgers, and at the bottom, one labeled ECHO_final. He opened it. Inside was a video. Charlie Kirk filmed in what looked like a hotel room. His voice was strained, his face pale. If you're watching this, he said, it means they got me. The people funding the network, politicians, CEOs, even influencers, they're all laundering influence through the mirror. I tried to stop them. I failed, but you can't. Don't trust anyone close. Even your own companies aren't safe. They'll use them against you. The video cut abruptly, replaced by a spreadsheet of encrypted transfers, names, dates, amounts. Elon scrolled through it, stunned. Familiar names jumped out. Donors, executives, officials. It was an entire map of corruption. His phone buzzed suddenly. A new message appeared. Unknown sender. You opened it. He stared at the screen. Another message followed. Now they know. He stood quickly, scanning the room, eyes darting toward the cameras. Then the lights flickered again, just once, but enough to make his pulse race. Another text came through. It's already begun. In that moment, Elon realized the widow had been right. The truth wasn't liberation. It was war. And now that he'd seen it, there was no turning back. The silence that followed was heavy enough to feel. Joe stared at Elon across the dim studio. The glow of the red on-air light painting sharp lines across their faces. The camera kept rolling, but even the crew had stopped breathing. Elon's words were still hanging in the air like smoke. She reached out to me. Joe, Charlie's widow. Joe's brow furrowed, his voice low. Wait, what do you mean reached out? Elon leaned back in his chair, his hands clasped together. She wanted the truth to come out, he said quietly. About Charlie? About what really happened before he died? And about what she found on his devices after he passed? Joe blinked, clearly trying to steady himself. You're telling me she came to you with that? Why? Elon looked straight into the camera, his expression unreadable. Because she said she couldn't trust anyone else. The chat on the livestream exploded, viewers flooding in by the thousands. Messages flew across the screen. What is he saying? Charlie's widow did what? Elon knows something. Joe took a deep breath and tried to steer the conversation back. Look, Elon, you can't just drop that and move on. What exactly did she show you? Elon hesitated, then reached into his pocket and pulled out a small silver flash drive. He set it on the table between them. This, he said, this is what changed everything. The camera zoomed in, catching the metallic glint. Joe's jaw tightened. You're saying Charlie Kirk's widow gave you that? Elon nodded once. Yes. And what's on it is bigger than either of us expected. Joe leaned forward. So what's on it? Elon exhaled slowly. Files, conversations, recordings, things that shouldn't exist anymore. And something that suggests Charlie knew he was being watched. The audience went wild. Within seconds, hashtags were trending across social media. Hashtag Musk Rogan bombshell. Hashtag Charlie Kirk files. Hashtag the widow speaks. Joe rubbed his temples. Are you serious right now? Elon's tone didn't change. Dead serious. She said she's been followed. She said people tried to make her disappear after she found this, and she wanted me to go public before something happened to her. Joe's eyes widened. So you're saying? I'm saying, Elon interrupted, that Charlie's death might not have been an accident, and his widow knows exactly why. The words hit like a slap. For a moment, the studio was frozen in disbelief. Elon continued, voice lower now. When she first contacted me, she sounded terrified. She said she'd been trying to reach journalists, politicians, anyone who'd listen. Nobody would touch it. They said it was too dangerous. Joe leaned back, muttering, Jesus, Elon continued. She told me she found an encrypted folder on Charlie's laptop labeled Arcadia. When she opened it, there were hundreds of voice memos, some dated just days before he died, and he sounded scared. Joe looked at him, stunned. What was he talking about? Elon's eyes darkened. He said someone close to him was lying, that something was being built in secret, and that if anything happened to him, the truth would surface. Joe's voice dropped to a whisper. Are you saying Charlie Kirk was blackmailed? Elon paused, then said, It's worse than that. The live stream counter spiked again. People were calling in, reporters were trying to get statements, and Twitter was already in chaos. Joe finally said, Okay, you're gonna have to play something from that flash drive. Otherwise, this just sounds insane. Elon nodded. He plugged the drive into the laptop sitting on the table. The audio that played was grainy, distorted by static, but unmistakable. Charlie's voice came through shaky, nervous. If you're hearing this, something's gone wrong. I don't know who's watching, but I know what they're doing. And she knows too. If she's still alive, tell her not to trust them. Joe's hand went to his mouth. Elon clicked pause. That was recorded 3 nights before he died. Joe said nothing for several seconds. The weight of the revelation settled into the room like fog. Elon, this could destroy lives if it's real, he finally said. Elon nodded. That's why I hesitated. But she told me to show it. She said the truth has to be out there before they silence her too. The tension in the studio was unbearable. Joe shifted uncomfortably. So you're saying Charlie's widow is in danger? Elon nodded again. She disappeared 2 days ago. Joe's expression hardened. You mean she's missing? No, Elon said. I mean she's gone. No one's heard from her. Her phone's dead. Her apartment's empty. And the last message she sent me said, They found me. Joe sat back, speechless. The camera caught his stunned expression as Elon's words hung between them. Fans online were losing their minds, debating whether this was a confession, a cover-up, or a setup. Elon took a sip of water, then said quietly, I didn't want to be the one to bring this into the open, but if I don't, nobody will. Joe's voice was almost a whisper now. What do you think they were trying to hide? Elon's gaze sharpened. A project that could control information itself. Something called the Echo Network. It's what Charlie was. The Echo Network. It's what Charlie was. Investigating before he died? Joe frowned. And you're saying this network puts spies on people? Elon nodded slowly. It doesn't just spy, it rewrites digital history. It can erase conversations, videos, entire events, like they never happened. Joe stared in disbelief. And you think Charlie found proof? Elon's tone didn't waver. He didn't just find proof, he tried to stop it. The chat was now unreadable, scrolling at impossible speed. Messages filled with disbelief, panic, and conspiracy theories. Joe shook his head. Elon, this sounds insane. You're talking about erasing reality. Elon met his gaze. It's already happening. Joe exhaled deeply. So what now? Elon looked down at the flash drive. Now, we finished what Charlie started. There was a long pause. The camera slowly zoomed in as Elon added, and Joe, there's one more thing she told me before she vanished. Joe raised an eyebrow. What? Elon's voice was calm but chilling. She said she wasn't the only widow. Joe froze. What does that mean? Elon didn't answer. He just looked toward the camera and said, The truth is coming, whether they like it or not. Then the studio lights flickered once, and the feed cut to black. When the feed returned, the studio was in chaos. Producers whispered into headsets. Technicians scrambled to check the power lines, and Joe looked visibly shaken. Elon sat in silence, eyes fixed on the monitor, showing a frozen frame of his own face. It was as if something or someone had deliberately cut the signal. Joe cleared his throat and tried to regain composure. Okay, he said slowly. We're back on, folks. Bit of a technical issue there. Elon finally looked up, his voice steady. That wasn't an accident, Joe. They're watching. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut. Joe forced a nervous laugh, but his eyes darted toward the camera crew. Who's they? Elon, you keep saying that like it's not just paranoia. Elon leaned forward, elbows on the table. It's not paranoia when you have evidence. The chat exploded again, messages flooding the live feed. People demanded answers, accusing Elon of staging the blackout, others claiming it was proof of the conspiracy itself. Joe sighed and ran a hand through his hair. So you're saying Charlie Kirk's widow was targeted because of what she found on his laptop? And now, someone's after you too. Elon nodded. The day after she contacted me, I got a warning. An anonymous message that said, "Stop asking about the Echo network, or you'll end up like him." Joe froze. Like him? Yes, Elon said. Like Charlie. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The only sound in the studio was the low hum of the cameras. Finally, Joe said, "So what's the plan now? You think exposing it live is going to keep you safe?" Elon shrugged. Safety doesn't exist anymore. The only protection we have is visibility. Once the world sees what's really happening, they can't erase it. Joe shook his head, whispering, "Man, this is going to blow up everything." Elon nodded again, his expression unchanging. It already has. Joe leaned forward, voice softer. "You said before she wasn't the only widow. What did she mean by that?" Elon's eyes flickered toward the camera. Charlie wasn't the only one investigating the Echo network. There were people from different industries, tech, media, even politics. Every single one of them died under strange circumstances, and each of them left behind someone who knew too much. Joe's hand tightened on the table. "You're telling me there's a pattern?" Elon nodded slowly. "A pattern they've been covering for years. Charlie's widow found part of it, but I've found the rest." Joe's tone hardened. "If that's true, you're sitting on something explosive." Elon gave a faint smile. "That's the idea." Then he reached for his phone, tapped a few times, and turned the screen toward Joe. There were photos, grainy, time-stamped images of meetings, documents, and a string of messages between unidentified accounts. One message read, "Cleanup scheduled. Widow is priority." Joe stared at it, horrified. "You're saying this is real?" Elon nodded. "It's all real, and it's only the beginning." Outside the studio, fans had already begun gathering, streaming live videos, holding up signs demanding the full footage. News outlets picked it up within minutes. The world was watching, and no one knew if this was a revelation or a trap. Joe leaned back, his voice tense. "Okay, Elon, but you have to realize how insane this sounds. You're basically accusing powerful people of killing and erasing evidence to protect some digital network." Elon looked him in the eye. "That's because they are." Joe shook his head. "So what happens next?" Elon replied, "The widow said if anything happened to her, a second flash drive would automatically upload to a public server. But it hasn't yet, which means either they stopped it or she's still alive." Joe blinked. "You think she's alive?" Elon nodded once, "And I think she's watching this right now." The audience collectively lost their minds. The comments section became unreadable again, messages flying faster than the eye could follow. Some claimed they had seen her online days ago under a different name. Others swore she'd been spotted in Texas. The speculation was endless. Joe's voice trembled slightly. "And what if she reaches out again?" Elon's tone dropped. "Then we finish it together." Suddenly, one of the crew members rushed to Joe's side, whispering something into his ear. Joe's face turned pale. "What?" he said aloud. The crew member handed him a note. Joe opened it. His expression changed from confusion to dread. "We just got a message from someone claiming to be her," Joe said slowly. The studio froze. Elon looked up sharply. "What did it say?" Joe swallowed hard. "It says, 'Stop talking. You don't understand what you've started.'" Elon's expression darkened. "It's her," he said. "That's her style of message. She's alive." Joe looked shaken. "But why tell us to stop? Isn't this what she wanted?" Elon frowned. "Maybe something changed. Maybe they got to her." The tension escalated as another producer whispered something urgently from behind the cameras. Joe looked off screen and said, "Wait, what's happening?" The producer shouted back, "There's a black car outside the building. It's been parked there since we started." Elon stood up. "Don't move," he said quietly. The cameras kept rolling as he walked to the window and looked out. "3 men inside," he said, voice low. "No plates, tinted windows." Joe's nerves were visible now. "Okay, this is officially insane. Should we call security?" Elon shook his head. "No point. If it's them, they already know we're here." The tension peaked. Joe's voice was shaky. "So what now?" Elon turned back to him. "We keep talking. They can't silence both of us on live air." The feed zoomed in, focusing on Elon's face. "They want to scare us," he said. "But fear is how they control truth, and I'm done being afraid." Joe hesitated, then nodded. "Okay, then let's finish this." Elon sat back down. speaking directly to the audience now. You've all seen the first file, but there's more. What Charlie found wasn't just political, it was personal. The Echo Network doesn't just erase data, it rewrites relationships. It manipulates communication records to change who said what, when, and why. Imagine waking up one day to find your messages altered, your words twisted, your past rewritten. Joe's eyes widened. So you're saying this thing can literally change reality online? Exactly, Elon said. It's the digital version of gaslighting on a global scale. Joe ran a hand down his face. This is horrifying, Elon continued. And it's not theoretical. Charlie's widow found altered files between them, conversations she never had. That's how she realized he wasn't paranoid. He was being rewritten in real time. Joe stared, and now they're trying to erase her too. Elon nodded gravely. That's what happens when you touch the truth. Then, from somewhere in the studio, a phone rang loud and shrill. Touch the truth. Then, from somewhere in the studio, a phone rang loud and shrill. Everyone froze. One of the assistants picked it up, listened for a second, and turned pale. It's for Elon, she said softly. Elon stood, took the phone, and pressed it to his ear. Who is this? He asked. Silence. Then a woman's voice. Faint, but distinct. You're not safe. Elon's face went still. Where are you? He asked. Don't look for me, she whispered. They're listening, but it's not over. They made a mistake. What mistake? Elon pressed. They copied the wrong file. Before he could respond, the line went dead. The studio fell silent again. Joe stared at him. Was that? Elon nodded slowly. It was her. Joe swallowed. What did she mean they copied the wrong file? Elon looked at the flash drive on the table. It means the real evidence is still out there. Joe's voice was hoarse. So what now? Elon looked up, eyes burning with resolve. Now, he said. We find it before they do. The screen flickered again, static crawling over the image. The feed glitched once, twice, then stabilized. Elon leaned forward, toward the camera, his voice low but clear. To everyone watching, if something happens to me after this, you'll know why. Save this recording, mirror it, spread it, because the truth can only live if you keep it alive. Joe looked at him, stunned. Elon, you're risking everything. Elon nodded. So did she. The camera zoomed in one last time as he whispered, and now, so will we. And now, with the studio lights fading, and the air still thick with tension, you can feel it, can't you? That uneasy mix of shock and curiosity crawling up your spine? Because what just happened between Elon Musk and Joe Rogan isn't something you can simply scroll past or forget after a few hours. It's the kind of moment that lingers, that makes you question what's real, what's controlled, and how much truth the world ever lets you see. People everywhere are still trying to piece it together. Was Charlie Kirk's widow really alive? Did she mean to warn Elon or silence him? Was that flash drive the real evidence, or just another layer of manipulation? Every second that passes only deepens the mystery. And yet, something about Elon's voice in that final moment, when he said they copied the wrong file, felt different. Not rehearsed, not calculated, just raw and dangerous. The kind of truth that someone powerful doesn't want out. Since that broadcast, rumors have spread faster than wildfire. Fans have flooded forums, Reddit threads, and every corner of social media trying to decode the clues hidden in the interview. Some claim they've slowed the footage and found a reflection of someone standing behind the studio glass, a blurred figure who wasn't part of the crew list. Others swear that Elon's microphone picked up a faint second voice whispering it's too late seconds before the power went out. And somewhere out there, a few claim to have received anonymous emails containing fragments of data allegedly from that missing second flash drive. Whether any of it's real or not, one thing's certain. The internet has never been this divided. People are choosing sides, those who believe Elon exposed something bigger than we can imagine, and those who think it's the greatest staged hoax of the decade. But you, the viewer, the one sitting there with your pulse, still racing, what do you think? Was Elon risking his reputation to protect the truth? Or was this his way of pulling the biggest media stunt ever attempted? The story doesn't end here, it's just beginning. Already, unconfirmed reports say the black car outside the studio disappeared minutes after the livestream ended, leaving no trace on security footage. The crew members who worked that night have refused to comment. One of them allegedly quit the next morning, deleting all social media accounts before vanishing offline entirely. Joe Rogan himself has gone quiet. No follow-up statement. No new episode, no response to the storm of calls and emails. As if the entire night was swallowed up by something larger than both men combined. So ask yourself, Elon was telling the truth. What's the Echo Network doing right now? Who are they and how deep does this go? Maybe the story of Charlie Kirk's widow wasn't about grief at all. Maybe it was about control of memory, of data, of the very narrative that shapes what people believe. And if that's true, then this interview wasn't entertainment. It was a warning. Maybe that's why the power cut wasn't random. Maybe it was their reminder that they're still watching. This is where you come in, because stories like this only live when people talk about them. If you've been watching this far, if you've felt that chill crawl down your neck when Elon said she's alive, then you're already part of it. Maybe that's exactly what they don't want to see this conversation grow. To see you question the timeline, the evidence, the silence. So don't let this story fade. Share it. Discuss it. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Tell us what you think happened that night. Do you believe the widow survived? Did she send that call to warn Elon or to threaten him? And what about the wrong file she mentioned? Was it a setup or a hidden key waiting to surface? You might think your opinion doesn't matter, but it does. Every comment, every discussion adds weight to the truth, makes it harder for anyone to bury it. So if you're one of those viewers who refuse to accept the easy version of the story, hit that like button to push this investigation further. Subscribe if you want to stay updated, because we're not done, not even close. The next upload might hold the missing link, a clip, a leak, or a message that connects every unexplained piece of this puzzle. The moment you stop asking questions is the moment they win. Remember what Elon said in that final line before the feed cut again? The truth can only live if you keep it alive? That wasn't just a dramatic quote, it was a call for everyone watching to take part in keeping the story visible. So don't scroll away. Not yet. Replay the footage. Listen closely to the background noise. Analyze the pauses. You might hear something that others missed, because if the widow really is alive, then she might already be reaching out in ways we don't see yet. Maybe her messages are hidden in plain sight in comments, in corrupted clips, and the fragments of the file they copied wrong. And if you think this is too far-fetched, remember how many times the world said that could never happen until it did? The truth has always started as a rumor whispered between people brave enough to listen, so be one of those people. If something about this feels unfinished, it's because it is. Something's still missing, and we'll keep digging until it surfaces. Because when billionaires, broadcasters, and widows collide in silence, you know something dark is buried underneath. So before you close this video, take a second, breathe, think. Then hit like if you believe there's more to uncover. Subscribe if you refuse to let this story die in the noise of distraction. And drop your theory below, no matter how wild it sounds, because sometimes the craziest theory ends up being the truth. This is your moment to choose. Do you forget what you just watched? Or do you help expose the story that powerful people want erased? Every share, every click, every voice counts. The world's watching, and so are they. But tonight, the truth belongs to you. The truth belongs to you.